a very unpopular opinion. It's going to deviate a little differently from the standard norm. So let's get right into it. Right in front of you, it's going to be about these two ladies and another lady who I will show later on. But let me just go back to here what I'm reading first right here. It says, I stand with Aviana Carter on what she had to say. She should have been protected and more defended in who she was authentically. The community failed you. The world failed you. I stand with a real one token from this world by the evilness of patriarchy and femicide. Now, this young lady to the right here is Avina Carter. Avina Carter was murdered by her girlfriend, Deshae McCain. Okay, according to authorities, 21-year-old Aviana Carter was shot and killed by 22-year-old Deshae McCain Monday morning, June 22, at an apartment complex on Montague Street. When officers arrived at the scene at 11 a.m., they found Aviana Carter suffering from a gunshot wound. She was taken to the hospital where she later was pronounced dead. Deshae McCain was charged with murder in connection with the crime and is being held at Mecklenburg County Detention Center. Social media has been in an uproar over Avina Carter's death after her murdered girlfriend Deshae McCain posted a joke about taking her life. After being arrested for murder, McCain was somehow able to write on her Facebook page, "All I wanted was to love this hoe. Now I'm sitting in a police department," along with a sleeping emoji and crying, laughing emoji. The post has been shared over 1,000 times this article was published. Now let's go back here. This is what I have a problem with. I stand with Aviana Carter on what she had to say. She should have been protected and more defended and who she was authentically. The community failed you. The world failed you. I stand with the real one taken from this world by evilness of patriarchy and femicide. Here's the problem that I have with this right here. I think that we are blaming a lot of deaths on young black women, saying that the world failed them, men failed them, the system failed them. Where does the blame go with you choosing to be in an abusive relationship? I was under the impression that adults take accountability for their actions. Now, when I say that, I don't mean to be harsh though, but I do believe that she deserves to be protected. Black women deserve to be protected. But people, you cannot protect men or women who choose to make a bad decision. If there's abuse, somehow you have to make a way of getting out. I understand that you cannot just leave, that it has to be a gradual process of getting up the nerves, talking to people, and things like that. But I think that it's unfair to think that we can control grown consenting adults on decisions that they choose to make. We were not there. No one forced anyone to stay in a relationship. No one forced anyone to stay in a bad relationship. I do not think that because they choose to stay in a bad relationship that they deserve that. But that's life. You're going to have good and bad people. You're going to have people who are going to be abusers. But this whole notion, what I'm seeing right now is that every single young female particularly, what people are saying, what the internet is saying, what social media is saying, is that they should have been protected. They need to be protected. How can you protect every grown consenting adult? You just cannot. How can you protect people who choose to make a bad decision? You just cannot. This is her, the girlfriend, joking about, the killing. And usually when you have things like this here, if it goes to the extent of her being gunned down, I'm going to take it that there was probably more abuse before the fatal gunshots. Very cold. All I wanted was to love this hoe. Now I'm sitting in a police department. Tragically, she was murdered. It says right here, rest in peace. She was murdered by her girlfriend in Charlotte today. I just think that we're turning on each other within the black community with these murders that happen. It's almost like what we're doing is that we're saying that when you say we, the community, are you saying that black people should have protected them? We need to be very careful with that type of language. We cannot control or protect grown people who choose to go back in an abusive situation. Now, justice for Alatoyan Salau. This is a very tragic case right here. She was 19 years old, and unfortunately, she chose to be helped by men who had no good intentions for her. This is something that she wrote. The same niggas I'm risking my life for are the same niggas who are convinced they are stealing away my innocence or jewel, not knowing that I'm standing on a rock. Therefore, I can never be broken or robbed. Rest in peace, baby girl. I really mean that for you. But black girls, let me just give you a warning with this right here. Just before I give that warning, she was protesting and looking for shelter. A black man gave her shelter and sexually assaulted her after she literally told him she was assaulted previously. She went missing hours later after tweeting it, and now her body was found. Black women are fighting two wars. Black girls, black women, I'm just going to say this much. Never go to a strange man's house, even if you met him at a church. A church does not mean that he's going to be above reproach. He's going to be sanctified. He's going to be holy. Understand this one thing about men. When a man take you into his house, he feeds you, he clothes you, he shelters you. He allows you to take a shower there. He's going to expect payment. And that payment will most likely be your body. Any man who's taken you home, baby girl, he has really no good intentions for you, regardless of where you met him. You can meet him at a church, at a synagogue, at a bakery. It can be any holy place or whatever, or what you may think or deem as holy. Men are men. I heard of Christian websites and things like that that has a lot of sexual predators on there. Men will go to places like that. The biggest, sexual predators, because they know that the girls there are very naive. They're easy pickings. They got their guard down and thinking that these men are going to help them and they mean good. I wish we could have helped her, but it's just not practical. We cannot help a grown female who chooses to make a bad decision. And I don't mean to be cold like that. With this young lady here, Toyin, I'm wondering, I'm going to put some of the blame on her parents. I really am. I heard that she was abused, or her parents watched her be abused from the age of 14. Where was her parents at? Extended family? These so-called friends she had? If anything, they should have protected her. They should have looked out for her. They should have clothed her. They should have fed her. Why was she out there in the street looking for lodging at different churches and shelters and things like that, going home with strange men she didn't know? Just let that be a warning. When you go home with a man, the minute you step foot inside their house, they are going to want payment. But I do think that we need to be very careful, though, in turning against each other within the black community. Somehow, faulting people who had nothing to do with this, which is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a great deal of that. This is one black man. He did this. This is one black, dusty, broke man who did this evil. I don't think that this should be a token as to all black men, which is what I'm seeing. I have seen that, though. The black man she protested for. I don't think she was protesting for anyone like this. I really don't. The protests are for Black Lives Matter. And let me remind people, Black Lives Matter is for any male or female black person who is gunned down unjustly by law enforcement, who are gunned down, who are abused, or murdered at the hands of law enforcement. It is not for Pookies or for Ray Rays within the which are in the black community who abuse people. They're not law enforcement. They're not paid servants. They're not did not go to any type of academy or training and graduate from there to go into the community or communities to protect and serve. It's justice for her. So my whole reason for making this is that we just need to be very careful with saying things like they should have been protected more. They should be. They should be. We do need to look out for them. But at the same time and token, we cannot protect everyone. We cannot protect people who unfortunately choose to make bad decisions or unwise decisions about their life. I'm going to end that and hope that may both young ladies